podcast ain't up on YouTube and on iTunes by Tuesday, 12 o'clock at DJ Downtown. 713 it is, at 6. West Coast beats. Yeah, you know, I hear that shit. Niggas that hate boxing. I know some niggas that been tortured out there fooling behind that racist shit on there.
Actually missed that rep.
That's because he ain't
session, so this is pretty good.
Right here. That's because he ain't determined on that sport, man. He was trying to live right.
All right, what you have right there is typically how most of my deadlift workouts actually play out, and I typically do the same thing with squats. I do very few reps just because at this point in my lifting career, I really can't handle the volume on squats or deadlifts. So that's why I'm a little more frequent on those lifts than most people who lift the type of weights that I lift. Right now, I'm still recovering from pulling my hamstring, and this particular piece of foolishness I'm about to include this clip right here where I got called out by a fitness guy who does fitness competition. So I had to show my homie pulling my hamstring and also straining something in my abdominal area. So it cost me the last month without really being able to train squats or deadlift. So right now I'm really behind. Right now it's the 20th, I believe, and Raw Nationals is a couple of weeks away. I lift in the prime time, October 15th. I'm coming in the third highest total behind Ray Williams and Dennis Cornelius at this event. So I'm expected to do pretty well. But, you know, so right now I'm set up to finish second because of Ray Williams is in my weight class and no one in the world is beating him. But there are a few other guys that could beat me or do better than me. So I need to make sure that I'm on my game. My last meet, well, the last two meets, the last meet I did, that was in Belarus for the World Championships. I pulled 750 pounds with no deadlift training at all because I just haven't been feeling well. And also my approach and technique has changed since I first started deadlifting, you know, at a high rate. You know, I used to do a jump and rip, which I was able to pull around 805. But now that I've converted over to a more traditional setup, the deadlift has gone down quite a bit. Puts me somewhere in the 750 to 771 range. But I think that that change was needed due to the fact I wanted to avoid injury as much as possible. So I made that change for the long term instead of the short term, which I probably could pull more weight if I went back to my traditional jump and rip. So not training deadlifts, like this is my first deadlift session prep for this entire prep. And I was able to get up to 700 pounds, being cautious, also pretty late at night, also was very sober, no drinking. Normally when it's nighttime out, and if you see me deadlifting, it's typically because I had a couple of craft beers or something of that nature. But going into this prep, I just want to finish off strong. My groin has healed to the point where I'm not experiencing pain, but I know it's still there. So for whatever reason, when I get in the hole on squats, I'm twisting a little bit, trying to avoid actually hitting the hole with any pace. But I need to correct that.
Come on, let's go, Jaisyn, like 750 pounds.
that's kind of where I'm looking to. If things play out the way they play out, I may need 783 to wind up with a 2,100 pound total. If things work out the way I think they're going to work out, or, you know, the main objective for this particular meet is a 600 pound bench press in competition, which would be an American record, as well as a 2,100 pound total, or the all-time American Masters record, which is held by Brad Gillingham, which is 937 kilos. And right now, coming in, I was 932 kilos at my last meet, where I totaled 2,055 with a 600 pound bench press. So if I can go up a little bit on the bench press and hit a bigger squat, you know, I think it'll put me in line to hit that number. But right now, you know, this is just a little insight that I'm gonna start including in my training sessions and document them and putting them up on YouTube, so you guys can get a little feel for what I'm doing. So typically with the deadlift, I know I was moving fast when I was explaining in the commentary on the video. I typically go 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate, 5 plate, and then I jump to the 700s. But lately I've been real cautious and real funny when I do that. So now I'm actually doing a lift in the 600s, which will be 606 or something of that nature. And it felt fast and moved fast, so I knew I wasn't gonna have a problem with the 700. But so I don't do a lot of reps in my sessions. Typically I might do between 3 and 5 reps with 1 plate, which is 165 or something like that. And when I move to 2 plates, it's 275. I typically never go more than 3 reps there. And when I go to 3 plates, it's typically around the time where I either put my belt on or I start taking singles with a overhand grip. But in this particular case, I actually went to my actual competition grip at 3 plates. And 4 plates is always going to be 1 rep. And then with 6 plates, 1 rep. And once I get over 700, I rarely do doubles, just because that bar tears my hands up. So I actually take the same scheme when I'm doing squats as well. I do 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate, 5 plate. And once I get to 5 plate, I typically jump to mid 6s to 700 pounds. So it's just typically the way I do things. So when people see that I squat so often or I pull often, it's because typically I don't put, there's not much volume in my workout. So for 3 days is typically what one person would do in 1 session. So it's pretty much how I go about programming my deadlifts and squats. But I just wanted to give you guys a little insight on that. And if you guys have any questions about my training or even my coaching services that I do provide for bench press and bench press only, you can hit me up at jmikefitness@gmail.com, or you can hit me up DM on Instagram or something of that nature, which I am Mr. Athletic over everything. So I'll put my contact information on the screen or in the bio, so you guys can contact me. But one athletic freak,